In this video, we'll see an introduction to constructors in Java. Before moving on to the topic, as we know, a class is a blueprint or a template which object should follow. So here an class contains methods and variables. In order to access these methods and variables, we require an object. So without any object creation, we cannot access variables and methods. So we'll see the object creation syntax to know more about constructors. So object creation syntax. So what is the object creation syntax? Class name, variable equal to new constructor. So this is the syntax for creating an object. Okay, so here class name will be the class name, and variable you can give any variable, let's say obj or a1 b1, you can give any variable here. New keyword, what does a new keyword do here? New keyword creates an instance of object. Okay, and constructor initializes the object. So this is the object creation syntax and working process of new and constructor. So what does a new do here? New creates an instance of an object. Constructor initializes the object. So now there are two rules for creating an constructor. Two rules for creating a constructor. So what are the two rules for creating a constructor? So the first rule is constructor name should be equal to class name. Constructor name should be equal to class name. And the second rule is constructor doesn't have any return type. Constructor doesn't have any return type. So here constructor name should be equal to class name. Suppose the class name is student, so the constructor name should start with student brackets. So this is a constructor and this is a class name. Okay, it is a normal class. Okay, so what is the second rule? Constructor doesn't have any return type. Suppose if I give public here, so this is no longer a constructor, this is a method. Okay, if I do void here, public void student, now this becomes a method. It no longer is a constructor. It is not a constructor now. Okay, constructor doesn't support any return type. Constructor doesn't have any return type here. Suppose private, it doesn't have anything like that. It is just a class name and brackets. So that is all about constructors in Java. So this is a small introduction on constructors. So there are types of constructors like default constructors and parameterized constructors. We will see we'll see them in the implementation. So this is all about the introduction part for constructors. Previously we have seen an introduction to the constructors in Java, how to create a constructor and what are the rules to be followed to create a constructor. So we'll see the implementation of default constructor and parameterized constructor. So let's start by creating a class. So class name is constructor demo. So now we'll create a main method, public static void main string. Okay, this is our main method. Okay, so let me drag this down. I'll create a new class which is student. Okay, so here I'll give some instance variables, string, name, and int, roll number. Okay, these are my instance variables. Now I'll create a constructor block here, student. So this is a default parameter. Okay, default in the sense we are not passing any arguments to this constructor. We are just created a just created a constructor here. So we'll pass inside this constructor. We'll pass the values for our instance variables. So name equal to ABC, roll number equal to 25. So it is giving me an error, invalid character. Okay, this is double quotes, ABC. Okay, that is done. So this is a default constructor without passing any parameters. I am just passing the values for instance variables inside this constructor. Okay, so now we'll call this default constructor by creating an object. So student object, you have to create it here. Student s1 equal to new student. So this is our object, and here I'll print system dot out dot println obj dot s1 dot name, and here system dot out dot println s1 dot roll number. So if I try to run it, it will give me ABC and 25. Okay, so we'll be getting the ABC and 25. So this is called as a default default constructor. So this is a default constructor. So now we'll see the parameterized constructor. Okay, now we'll see the parameterized constructor. Okay, so now here we have to give the same constructor block student, but we have to pass some values inside this student constructor. We have to pass inside this brackets. We have to pass some values. Okay, we have to pass some parameters. Let's say string str comma int n. So I'll pass some values. So here we have to assign these parameters to instance variables. Okay, whatever the instance variables we have here, we have to pass it to them. Name equal to str. Next roll number equal to 10. So the values must be passed inside the constructor. So that is called as a parameterized constructor. So we'll pass the values. So we'll create another object because this is a default constructor object. We'll create another object, student s2 equal to new student. So here we'll pass the values. So let's say pqr comma will pass the roll number, say 45. Okay, so we have passed the string, we have passed the roll number. Okay, we have passed the name as well as roll number here. So we'll call the I will print the second object, which is s2. Okay, let me copy the same thing here. Okay, let's change it to s2 dot name, and I'll paste the same here, and I'll change it to s2 dot roll number. So if I try to print this, so as you can see, it is printing the default parameters which I have passed here inside this constructor block, and it is also giving me the PQR45, which is parameterized constructor. So this is all about constructors in Java. So if you like this video, please share and subscribe. Thank you.